Hello everyone. So in this video I'm going to talk about Palantir. We're going to do like a full analysis. So one, we're going to basically cover like what happened lately with the whole earnings and the whole price action. Then we're going to shift over into some technical analysis, try to figure out kind of where the support and resistance is. I'm also going to cover basically what's going on in the options world. Where are people buying or putting their bets in for at least in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks. Then we're going to shift over into basically some news of how some analysts basically changed or updated their price targets. So we're going to cover basically bad news. We're going to cover some good news, and then we're going to go over basically what did ARK do yesterday and how much they bought specifically for Palantir. Then we're also going to take a look at their fund in general, just to take a look at where Palantir sits. Then at the very end, I'm basically going to showcase basically kind of do a compare and contrast with Palantir and Snowflake. So we're going to take a look at both of their earnings, or at least their most recent earnings, kind of do some technical analysis on like their price to revenue ratios, and just try to compare Palantir with Snowflake, and that way we can get a good sense of which one's overvalued, which one's undervalued, and if you were to compare the two, what should the price be of Palantir today, and so on. And I think what we discovered is basically going to shock you, and I feel like it's going to give you a good analysis of where Palantir may be heading in the future. So real quick, before we get started, I just want to emphasize I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for entertainment purposes. Make sure you check out my channel, Your Options Guy. If you haven't already done so, make sure you click that subscribe button. If you like this video at any time during this analysis, make sure you give a like on this video. Leave any comments if you have any questions. I want to know your opinions on what you thought about the earnings. Did you expect this to happen? Because usually, like on good earnings, the price goes down anyways. Or what did you expect? Leave it down on the comments. All right, so let's get started. So first, I want to basically start with some technical analysis. So basically, if you see here on my technical analysis, we have a strong resistance around 27, and you can see that we've hit 27 a couple times, and every time we touch around that 27 or peak a little bit above it, we basically start coming back down. And as you can see, the same thing happened within this last couple of days. As we're heading up into the earnings, we touched 27. After earnings, boom, like there was a huge sell-off, and we basically started going back down. As this little blue, green, and red lines are basically the moving averages, the 50, 100, and 200. So as you can see, we actually dip below those moving averages, and that's usually a bad sign. It's a bad indicator, basically. Potential for further dips coming up. So as you can see, I have our current support around 2250. That's basically where we're at. We touched this price range around there a couple times. So one here back in let's see, March, and back in January. So we touched that price range around a couple times. If we do start dipping below this 2250, the next strong support would be around 21, where we touched that area around there multiple times. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So as you can see on the RSI, we're basically getting really close to that 30 range. Once we touch that 30 range, that's usually a good indicator that the price has been oversold. And if you're sitting on the sidelines, or if you're a trader, that's a good time to basically buy in. All right, so let's move on to the options. So in the options world, basically today was a little bit mixed. As you can see, the call flow and the put flow, it's basically almost even. However, the one interesting thing that I did notice is that on the right hand side, you could basically see the dark pool orders. So dark pool orders are basically like big orders that come in that kind of happen behind the scenes, and they kind of happen so that we kind of don't really see an impact on the price like right away. With dark pool orders, we can't really tell exactly if it's a buy order or if it's a sell order. The only thing that we could infer is basically based on the price action of like where the direction is going. So as you can see, there was some dark pool orders at the 2360 priced, at the 23, a couple at 23 and 2281. So again, we don't know if these were sell orders here, maybe buy orders here, but that is the data. I just want to showcase that to you. So as you can see, we have a mix of like 40s calls and then 20s. But if I break it down to like the actual puts, so you can see right here. So the puts, they all range within, I think the lowest I see is 17 to like 23 range. So this may be a good indicator that we're basically getting really close to the bottom. Now looking back at the technical analysis, this 2250 is a strong support. I mean, it's a current support as of right now. We may dip all the way down to the strong support again though. So just keep an eye out on that. If we start dipping below the 2250, we might head to the 21, and that would be a really good time to buy, especially because we should be getting close to that 30 range on the RSI. All right, so moving on. Actually, hold on one sec. Let me get rid of this ad right here. Hopefully I don't get any, yeah, didn't want to get any on viruses. Just touching on those ads, you know, when you try closing them out. Anyway, so as you can see here, basically this article says that few analysts slash price targets. So RBC Capital analyst, he downgraded to underperform from sector perform with a price target of $19, so down from 25. So he's implying a 17% downside. And basically his stance is that the company had like a mixed Q3 results with deceleration in the government business, while noting that its commercial acceleration that is being fueled by SPAC investments is unsustainable. So if you've been following Palantir, you know that they have actually been doing a couple acquisitions slash like investments into different sorts of SPACs. I think like big VC companies tend to do this type of style where they just, you know, invest heavily, and then eventually they get small to medium portions of the companies that they're investing. So eventually that goes into like their financials and so on. So basically they're saying that the SPAC investment is unsustainable. We'll see how that plays out. You know, obviously you can't predict the future. You don't know if like your investments are going to be good in the long run or they're bad. You know, there's a risk to it all. But all in all, this person is saying they're downgrading their price target from 25 to 19. Another person, William Blair, basically sees, they say that Palantir revenues decelerated in the quarter to 36% year over year, down from 49% in the first half of 2021. While Palantir delivers strong headline numbers, the growth in the second half of 2021 is heavily reliant on strategic investments. So the analyst remains concerned about the business ability to maintain 30% organic growth over the near term. And they also keep the underperform rating on Palantir. So another analyst, basically right here, City Analyst, they reiterate their $18 price target. Another analyst basically shifted from 25 to 20. And lastly, actually one good news, however, was that the Morgan Stanley analyst raised the price target to 24 from 22, implying a 4% upside. So overall, just to summarize, a lot of analysts actually kind of downgraded their price targets. Some analysts just maintained the price target, which is still below the current price. There was only one analyst that actually increased the price target. All right, so now moving on to some good news. There was an article from Zeek and Alpha. Basically, the author is pretty much bullish on Palantir. Basically, they're saying that Palantir has tremendous upside, or they're basically reiterating what Yahoo has explained. So Palantir has tremendous upside potential and is well positioned to emerge a winner in the data analytics and machine learning space. So it stands to shine particularly in assisting Western government agencies with high priority missions and in helping large corporations with unlocking and optimizing their use of large swaths of data. So this is actually true. Palantir does have a huge, basically a connection with the government, specifically in US. Not only with the US, but they are actually branching out more into, like, I've seen them with doing UK contracts, Japan contracts, and so on. So they're definitely branching out to other types of governments, specifically US allies. So that's one thing to take note. Another thing, as you can see here, says our Q4 revenue guidance implies full year 2021 revenue of 1.57 billion, which represents another year of revenue growth of 40% or higher. So additionally, for the full year 2021, we are raising our annual adjusted free cash flow guidance to an excess of 100 million, an increase of 100 million. from our prior guidance. And also basically what they're saying is long-term revenue guidance is they're providing and will continue to provide guidance of 30% or greater. So I feel like the 30% is being a little bit more conservative. I think right here basically they explain the same thing. So 30% is more of like conservative type of estimates. What they're actually expecting to see is more of like the 40% range, possibly hitting 50% range. So as you can see here, investors could enjoy 40 to 50% capital gains per year, although it might be quite lumpy along the way, as you can take note based on the earnings that just happened. If this is true, then hitting $90 to 120 in 2025 is rational. So I'll basically go over some numbers to break down like some price targets that we could hit potentially. So stick around to the end of the video. So now let's take a look at what happened with ARK. So this happened yesterday. So ARK, as you can see here, basically they went on like a buying spree for Palantir. They're basically buying the dip. So as you can see, for the ARK fund, which is their main fund, they basically bought almost 1 million shares of Palantir, so 850,000. So that was a big buy. Another big buy was on their ARKQ fund. So they gobbled up another 116,000 shares, and another one was in their ARKW, so 222,000 there. And lastly, on their ARKG, they took another 290,000. So pretty big buying from yesterday. So I haven't received the alert for today. However, I wouldn't be surprised if they did buy more on the dip for Palantir. All right, so I actually just refreshed my email and then I got the alert, and basically ARK did another round of buying for Palantir. So I wanted to let's go through that. So as you can see, Palantir for ARK, almost 1 million shares of Palantir. ARKQ, another 121,000. Palantir, and then ARKW 224, and then nothing for ARKG. But so we basically do some math. That's like what, 300, 340, 340. So 1.2 million shares around there. So yeah, it's another strong buying from ARK, and definitely buying a lot of Palantir. And yeah, that just goes to show that they still have strong conviction in this stock, and basically they think this price, these price levels right here are actually a little bit on the oversold range. So they're definitely piling up. I might actually do so myself. I might activate more margin, even though I'm already activating a lot of margin right now. But I might do so some more myself. I might pile on as well, more on Palantir. And yeah, so pretty good news coming out from ARK, and more buying. So we take a look at basically their current fund. You can see Tesla number 1, obviously, because they've been super bullish on Tesla from the beginning. Coinbase is number 3. I'm actually heavily invested in Coinbase myself. UiPath is actually number 9 now. I did a video a while back how it was really close to the top 10, and now it's number 9. So that's one thing to take note. However, Palantir is actually number 14, so it is within their top 20, which is somewhat good news. And actually their ARK-K, they've actually kind of slimmed it down a little bit. So it used to have around like 40 to 50 different types of stocks here. They've been slimming it down little by little. Basically, whatever's here, they think it's gonna be a winner. They think it's gonna be it's gonna bring at least 15% gains annually within the next 5 years. And so they've been definitely having higher conviction on Palantir. Let's play around with some numbers. So basically I want to do this number breakdown, so that way you can understand basically how, like, what I like to look at in terms of like trying to determine if a company is overvalued or undervalued. And we're going to be looking specifically at comparing Palantir to Snowflake, because they are somewhat within the same industry, even though they're not direct competitors. At least we have a good sense of like what to compare to. So basically on this article, again, it says revenue for full year is expected to be 1.53 billion, or 40% year-over-year growth. and Palantir has reaffirmed it expects annual revenue growth of 30% or more through 2025. So this is really important to keep note of this 30% or more, which we'll actually break it down to in a second. So if we take a look at Palantir, so their revenue on this quarter was actually 392 million, and they actually beat the Wall Street consensus or estimates of 385 million. So if we take that 392, actually without even taking that 392, let's just take this 1.53 billion number right here, and basically we'll try to break it down to like looking at this market cap in a second. So if we take a look at Palantir, the Palantir market cap is sitting around, let's just say 44 billion. Let's just average up a little bit. So if you take 44 billion and divide that by the 1.5, so if you do 44 divided by the 1.5, so that basically gets you around almost 30. So let's just round up to 30. So let's just say that basically Palantir is currently trading around a 30x of its revenue. So if you were to basically break down the full year revenue, which is explained over here, they expect to be making around 1.53 billion, and you times that by 30, then that's basically like the market cap that you get as of right now. So it's safe to assume that basically Palantir is trading around 30x of its revenue. So now let's take a look at Snowflake, because this would actually kind of maybe shock you. I'm not too sure, but it shocked me a little bit in terms of Snowflake. So if we take a look at Snowflake, you see that the Snowflake market cap is around 108. So if we take a look at Snowflake's earnings, basically their revenue was on their last earnings, it was around 272. So it's safe to say that basically if you times 272 times 4, basically 4 quarters, we expect to see a revenue slightly above 1 billion. So we can do like 1.1. Now if you do 1.1 and you times that by, actually sorry, let me do 108 divided by 1.1, you get almost 100. Basically the revenue or price to revenue ratio. So it's around 100. So remember, Palantir was just around 30, and Snowflake is around 100. So Snowflake seems like it's actually being overvalued way more, maybe 3 times more than what Palantir is. If you were basically to have Palantir have almost the same like price to revenue ratios as Snowflake, then basically what you should be doing is 1.5 times that by 100, and you should get somewhere around 150 billion market cap, which is basically around 3 times what the price is as of right now. So you should have at least 65, somewhere on there, $65 per share for Palantir if you were to compare it like apples to apples to Snowflake as of right now. Now, unless if I'm missing something, that's basically what the breakdown is. So as you can see, the revenue for Palantir, actually I think they still haven't updated. This is last quarter. So last quarter was 375. This quarter was 392, and Snowflake's last quarter was only 272. And if you look at the rest of their financials, it looks like Palantir is actually making more money, and overall it's looking like it's growing at a steady pace. So again, that's just like comparing Palantir to Snowflake. If you were to try to value like both of the companies, it may seem actually like Snowflake is the one that's actually overvalued, and Palantir is way undervalued. I feel like in general, because Snowflake did do an IPO and Palantir didn't do an IPO, like more heavy investors got into Snowflake, and because Palantir didn't go that route, maybe there's some like Wall Street political like fighting, or a lot of people like to say it's manipulation and everything because they didn't get in on IPO, whereas more retailers got in on on the DPO and such. Anyway, so that's just my thoughts. But basically, if you were to break it down, I feel like all in all, I think Palantir is getting really close to an oversold range. So definitely watch out for that 21. Basically, that 21 price might be definitely a good time to pile in around that price. If you're a long-term investor, I feel like you're good either way. You just got, again, another chance to keep buying more, and keep buying on those dips, and nobbling up. So one thing to keep in mind though is that we have, I think, almost a whole year of consolidation within this 20 to 27 range. So usually when you have a consolidation that long, you tend to see a strong breakout within like the next coming quarter or so on. So one thing that you should watch out for in the next quarter is definitely watch out to see that commercial side grow more. The government side, yeah, it may come down a little bit, like in terms of the government revenue, government contracts, but that shouldn't matter as much. What should matter is the commercial side growing more. And if Palantir can prove that they're still hitting 30% or more, growth year over year, and also gaining more commercial customers, then I feel like the stock price will definitely start climbing rapidly after that. Anyways, that's it for the video. Make sure you don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, leave any comments, and thank you for watching.